Okay, so I'm pumping it out live now. So, hello, everybody, and welcome. This is our weekly conversation about all things aquatics that we meet every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Eastern. Goal of the conversation is to share ideas about the aquatics industry and to help others have access wherever you're at in your field, whether it's just starting out or you're a longtime veteran of the industry. Also, if you're interested to get an email update about this, you head over to aquaticstalk.com. Sign you up. You'll get an email about 30 minutes before I'll send it out, and then you can join in our conversation. So I sent out all of you that are watching out live. You will see a question, like a little Weebly thing that, or not Weebly, what's it called? Slido link that will allow you to submit questions. So if you're interested to do that, you can submit an upvote question. So I try to prioritize if I see somebody else submit a question, that we pump that up to the top of the list and talk about it. So with all of that said, I'm going to jump into a first question. So the first question I have comes to us. Vincent asked in the Facebook group about experiences with swimmers with colostomy bags. Does anybody have experience with that and anything they'd like to share?
I know that we talked about it, 'cause I never actually had someone, but we always talked about in the event of,
Right.
and kind of deciding ahead of time what we felt about it. And it really, I don't know a lot about it other than the fact that the person is going to be pretty aware of what is safe for them and not safe for them.
Yeah.
And I guess the concern could be if the bag broke or came dislodged or whatever. But the reality we all know in the real world here is that people pee in the pool all the time.
Right.
And that's why we keep the chemistry where it is. So I think there's that side of having to waylay anyone's fears that sees somebody with a bag, not that they would, but if they did. And then on the other side, making sure that person is safe in terms of, entry point of tubes and all of those things. So,
Yeah.
that's
I tend to agree, and I think they should just check with their health provider, make sure their health provider signs off on it, and make sure that they, if something happens, like you were saying, Christine, any accident, treat it like a normal accident. So I think we want to be getting as many people in the pools as we can that it's safe for them to be in the pools. So, yeah, pretty straightforward there. With that, next question I'm going to ask is, Stephen asked in the group if there was anyone knows of water park resorts that offer a discount to aquatics professionals. Anyone have any thoughts on that one or any experience?
No, but I want a discount.
Right.
I think it's a tit for tat. Are you willing to give a discount to someone where you're at?
Right.
I don't know if it's a professional courtesy thing. I mean, pools are something I know when I've traveled across country, that's sometimes where we've stopped to get showers as a group or whatever if we couldn't and weren't staying in a hotel or something. But
All right. Yeah, no, and then I would say, reach out to the facility if you're interested, and if there's anything you can do for them potentially. I always wonder if, like, I try to like reach out ahead if I'm going somewhere. Like, is there any way I could just like check out your mechanical room?
yeah.
And like reach out. Is there somebody going to be around that day that's like not going to be completely weirded out? I've had people come by our facility and ask that question, and I'm like, yeah, sure, let's go check it out and let's go talk. But I don't know that about discounts. I know I've talked with other friends and colleagues about potentially doing like a last minute audit and like surprise secret shopper types of things for people. Cause like if I'm showing up with my kids to a facility, nobody's going to know me from anybody else, but y'all will know, me and know what, see how your front desk treats people and, the procedures and how the guards are looking. So just some thoughts. Any other thoughts on that one? All right. I see a couple other people that are in the attendees on us live on Zoom. If you want to jump on the panel, feel free to raise your hand and we'll bump you up. No pressure, though, on that one at all. I saw a couple of new people jump in. So, all right. Next question we had from the group. This was an anonymous question on the group. They asked about sharing a story about their facility that they're working for or they were working for, not requiring lifeguards, that their insurance said that they didn't require them to have lifeguards. It sounded like a club type of institution or something, and they weren't comfortable with it. And the management, though, was opposing, pushing that out to people, pushing that out during slower times or whatnot, that they had swim at your own risk type of programming. So does anybody want to chime in on that one?
Well, I worked for a private health club, and they did not have lifeguards at all times. So they had lifeguards at family swim. They did not have them during water exercise classes. They had it during swim lessons. So it was an on and off thing. And basically the way we approached it, because we weren't going to win in having a guard on that. They felt they weren't required to do that. So what we did is with the water exercise instructors, made sure that they had safety training so that they would get in a pickle if something went down in their class, and knew how to get flotation out to somebody and where to call and all of those different things. We did try at one time to educate management on it, and actually it failed. It really bummed me out. It really didn't seem to hit home. I'm not sure why. I guess probably because they never had an incident. And this was a 3-story club, huge. Plus it had across the street another part of it. So, just kind of even hinting in there that all of the employees need to know what the pool area is like, where things are, where the phones are, what to do if you got called from the front desk to come down and help with something. So I guess it's up to the management, but that's been my experience.
Others want to chime in? Oh, I see Rich wanting to raise his hand, so I'm going to bump you up, Rich, and pause for a second. I'll just chime in a couple of thoughts here that I saw. Check your local bather codes first. Make sure that your facility is actually allowed to do that, depending on the type of operation you're running. If it's not, I would still point out the risks that are involved. And if management really signs off on that, I would pull I'm going to give you something in writing, and I would ask that you just go ahead and give me in writing your responses about this one. Rich, you want to chime in on this one?
Yeah, so here in New Jersey, we have, it's actually kind of like a bone of contention for us. We have I deal mostly in lakes. So in our bathing code, our New Jersey State Bathing Code, just specifically for lakes, you can designate yourself as a exempt or specially exempt facility. And a specially exempt facility would be that you don't have to supply lifeguards. However, you do have to have the lifeguard equipment out. You have to have the rescue equipment out, which doesn't make sense. So, I fight this every year with our health department that comes in and has to do our inspections, because, we only guard our beaches from 12 noon to 6 p.m. on the lakes. Other lakes go from maybe from 10 o'clock until 6 o'clock or 10 to 7. But what happens is that our lakes we can't lock them up. I mean, people have access to them because people live around the lakes. So they can go to any one of the beaches and just go swimming anytime they want. We have signs posted no lifeguards on duty, or lifeguards are on duty only from certain hours to certain hours. And, it's actually swim at your own risk at all times. So, at the Jersey Shore, I don't know if you're familiar with the Jersey Shore, but the Jersey Shore, we have like 100 miles of open coastline all the way down there, and each individual municipality and county staffs lifeguards there, and they're there from like 9 o'clock until 5. After 5 o'clock, there's no lifeguards on the beaches. Those beaches are wide open. You can go to any one of those beaches. And so my contention was I go to the inspector and I said, listen, I said, what do they do down the Jersey Shore at 5 o'clock? They blow the whistle, they call everybody out. They say, listen, the lifeguards are going off duty, and they take their equipment. They do not leave their equipment on the beach. They leave it. All right.
Right.
So I said, so why are we different from that? We blow the whistle at 6 o'clock. We call everybody out. We take a head count. We tell them the lifeguards are going off duty. We put our equipment away, and we go home. All right. If the people want to go back in the water, that's entirely up to them if they want to do that. All right. And, knock on wood, we've never had a problem up here in the lakes. The problem we have is obviously down the Jersey Shore, because we have a lot of, that's more of a transient type people that come and go. I mean, it's not too many of them are regulars. The regulars aren't going to be the ones who drown. The people who live down the shore and go to the beaches after hours are not the people who they're wary of what they have to do. All right. Now you get the people that are coming down from the city or coming out from New York City, going down to the beaches, and then they get down there late. The guards are off duty, and then they get on the beaches, and then that's when we have your problems. All right. So we are constantly fighting with the health code and the health department on this, especially for special exempt. Now, we do have hotels and motels that apply for special exempt, like spas and health clubs, because they have very small pools. And what happens is that they have a sign that says, no lifeguard on duty, swim at your own risk. And then they have to have the lifeguard equipment out. They'll have like a ring buoy. They'll have a shepherd's crook or a reaching pole and a backboard. That's it. All right. So our contention is that, and I say this, I said, okay, and I did this with the health inspector. I said, do you think that if someone was drowning, do you think that you have the capability of taking a rescue tube or paddleboard and going out and rescuing? So she says, no. So if you who know what to do, or think that you know what you're doing, why are we giving this false impression, giving this false sense of security to people to use our equipment to go out there? I said, I think that poses more of a liability. I mean, it's not like we're having like a fire extinguisher on the side where that's required. Okay, so you have a ring buoy. So we put ring buoys out. Everyone can figure out how to use a ring buoy. Everyone can figure out how to use a thing. But what about like no one knows how to like use properly how to use a shepherd's crook or properly use a rescue board or a reaching pole or a rescue tube, all that type of things. So we're still fighting this and trying to work around this, but that's our history here in New Jersey.
Thanks. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's really tough to be able to, make that case when you have management that says, well, legally we're allowed to do this. And our codes and our insurance doesn't require it. But at the same time, we got to think about the people that we're trying to take care of in our facilities, whether that's open water or lakes or wherever. So, all right, I'm going to jump onto another one here. Next question, a group member asked about how long you normally wait before reopening your pool after adding sodium bisulfate to lower your pH, and what are the reasons, and do you have any resources for that? And I can chime in on this one, but anybody else, how long do you typically keep your pools closed between adding chemicals? My answer is you need the textbook answer is follow the manufacturer's instructions. Wait and see until the water has been able to thoroughly mix and thoroughly able to clear. Some chemicals will add a turbidity to your water, so in those cases, you need to make sure that you allow the water to fully clear. And also to thoroughly mix, right? If you're adding chemicals because you're out of compliance, you need to make sure that's adequately able to mix and get through the rest of the facility, the rest of the body of water to be able to put it back into range. You have a couple factors going in. You have dilution and mechanical mixing that do allow it to mix quicker. But again, when you have the opportunity to, I would make sure you err on the side of a little bit longer, even if you've got people chomping at the bit to get back into the facility. Typically, that's about 30 minutes for me. Is about how long I'll wait between adding chemicals and directly into a pool and letting bathers back in. Anyone else?
My only experience is with soda ash that we put in the water. And that, again, just like, you said, you wait about 30 minutes before you let anybody in. But most of the time, your patrons are pretty understanding if you're like, hey, the chemical's too high, we're just trying to drop it for you. So if you're explaining to them the situation, they're pretty chill about it.
Yep, exactly. All right. Pretty easy one, but figure we'll throw that one out there. Another quick one that just kind of made me question myself. Ashley asked, does anybody provide towels for their swim instructors and lifeguards?
Oh, we had lost and found towels that we provided.
Yeah.
And
Stephanie, looks like you're about to chime in too.
Yeah, we like Christine, we have lost and found towels. We wash them. We have a washer and dryer here, so we wash them, dry them. We put them out for people to come claim first, right? And after a week or two, if they haven't been claimed, they go into the pile that we have. We used to wash them and dry them and let members borrow them as well, but since COVID, we just let staff use them.
Yeah, we just use lost and found. That's it. Wash.
Just lost
It
and found.
depends on your facility too. So when I worked for Ardmore, we had a towel service that we were still providing. I know a lot of those went away during COVID, but Ardmore still does towel service. So the lifeguards just grab towels if they didn't already bring their own. I personally had my own that I hung in the office and kept it with me all the time. We also gave away towels as incentives for completing big 50-mile, 100-mile swim challenges. So those were exciting things to be able to give away as well. But it just depends on your facility. When I worked at summer camp, again, lost and found. That's an awesome way to get towels. But we don't typically buy. I've never worked anywhere where we've bought and purchased and said, hey, these are towels for you, our staff.
Yeah, we've ran it. Go ahead.
go ahead, Joe.
I was just going to say we run a towel service, and but it's been very staff can't use them. Staff can't use them. You need to bring your own towels. And I'm really starting to rethink that of why the heck can't we let our staff use those towels? We're struggling to get staff. Let's just bite the bullet and let's just make sure we're doing an extra couple loads of towels. We have the towel inventory to manage this. So, others?
Yeah, we bought for an incentive one time. We did those towels that are like squeegees, that really wring out and you can use it between classes. So it was really good for the swim instructors because you could get out and towel off and you're not, a new towel after every class.
Right. All right. Anyone else have do custom printing of towels or anything like that? Seems like it might be a kind of a branding thing to make your own printed towels. I'm not sure what the pricing on that would be, but seems like it might be something kind of interesting to do.
You can always turn it into a rental too for your patrons to rent towels with that. But then you're also doing that whole laundry side of it. So you have to figure that in.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we include I think we charge a minimal fee for towels, but we include with the premium membership, they get towel service. So, all right, a little bit of a pivot on topics. Switching to Daniel was asking about good books about leadership to share with your teams.
Oh.
So when I first started at Ardmore, there was a lady there who had really pushed me to take over as aquatics director. And she had run a fitness facility for years where she had a pool and everything. And she handed me a book that was about Disney and how Disney became who they became, and all the tips that Disney had. And that was really good reading. So that is one that I would recommend and pass.
Was that creating Disney magic into that title? Do you remember?
Yeah, I can't remember the title of it. I actually ended up leaving it behind. But it's one I think I left behind for my staff actually. But it was one that was specifically about Disney and how he became and his top leadership tricks. That it was like 12 things, and it was all highlighted by her already. So it was fun to kind of go through and see what she had pulled from, and I appreciated that.
Others? So one of my favorite ones is this rework. It's kind of an interesting book. It's very like a short essay, right? Like everyone, it's like little tidbits you can share and everything. I really enjoy that book. There's a couple other ones. There's one, I think it's actually from a bus company out in your neck of the woods, Rich, about a revamp of a public bus company. Was it? I'll have to list, and I'll respond in the comments. But basically, about how like a public organization went through and kind of rebranded themselves and looked at their efficiency, which was kind of an interesting way to do it. That balance is not just being a public business, but also serving the public good. So yeah, and I think Simon Sinek's books are pretty good. His Knowing Your Why. I know some people that are big advocates of that and go into it. So, others?
I mean, coming from a public safety background, police, basically, we have a lot of police supervision books and a lot of stuff like, which basically pertains to that. We found that we're very excellent, and I take some of those principles and I use them towards my lifeguard management courses, because we require all our supervisors, if they want to become a supervisor, have to take a lifeguard management course, and then we help them out a little bit, with some handouts or whatever like this. But I mean, I'm just looking at some of mine right here. Leadership principles of, like, they have that series, Leadership Principles of Lincoln, Teddy Roosevelt, those types of things. Those are small, like you said, essay books. All right, those are pretty good.
Right.
I remember the one that I had in an advanced management course. They gave me Leadership Principles of Attila the Hun.
Yeah.
As compared to Drucker. So
right.
And when I went back to work, I think that I subscribed more to Attila the Hun than I did to Drucker, because Drucker was more like lieutenants and above, and I was like the sergeant. So I said, I'm going with Attila the Hun, so that was it. So, there are a wide variety, but I think you have to, if you're going to use a system, and that's what we found out. What happened was that we had a chief that what he did was he sent everyone to different types of command schools and different types of leadership things, and it although it thought that he was doing something really good, what happened was that everyone had a completely different leadership style, and it did not work for the organization. So I think what we found out is that if you're going to do that, everyone has to go to all those, or you just have to pick one or two and make sure that everyone goes through that so everyone's on the same page. So that's the only thing that I think that you should do with leadership.
Sounds good.
YMCA also has like a bunch of classes on the LCDC and things, and everything that they do is designed to feed into eventually like leadership roles. So that's some other things that you potentially, you don't have to be a YMCA person to take those classes, but they're just nice. A lot of them are free. Some of them are like $20 or $30 to get the certification, but they're good. They talk about things that are helpful for management and things like that.
Great. Yeah, I think it's just important. I don't think it's a wise idea to just overprescribe to one specific management style. I think you need to, just because somebody was successful, there's all sorts of other variables that go into it. So you need to make sure you're doing a gut check on what they're telling you to do, and does it actually line up with your core values and your organization's core values. So, all right. Austin asks about swim aquatics challenges you've done at your pool. Thought about you on this one, Chelsea. Different lake distances in a period of time and others.
Gee, I wonder who can talk to this. Megan Kays is actually who I stole it from, and I know she's on the Facebook group here as well. But she was the aquatics director up at Norman YMCA for a bit, and I saw that she had that up on the board, and it was a 50-mile swim challenge, and people were all about it. And so I emailed her about it, and she was actually running it for a lot of YMCAs locally, where she was doing a spreadsheet and everybody was calling in and saying what they were achieving. So there's ways to do it if you have a multiple large conglomerate, because people weren't all coming in at the same time. I opted to do the poster version, where I put a poster on my wall, and it was, I think we did 3 months if it was only like 20 or 25 miles. We did about 6 or 8 months if it was any more, if it was 50 to 100. And so I've done a few of them. We mostly did 50-mile swim challenges. The latest one was Choose Your Own Adventure in Ardmore, and it was 25, 50, 75, or 100. Choose your own adventure. How much do you want to swim? Everybody either got a t-shirt or a towel or stickers, or there was always some sort of little, everybody always got a sticker, because I like buying everybody stickers all the time. We've done the t-shirts, we've done the towels. My towel's actually hanging up over there behind me. And then the people that hit the 100-mile mark, we had a donor who he was so invested in what this was doing for him personally and getting him to get up in the water and swimming more, that he invested and made sure that every single person who completed the 100 miles got a sweatshirt.
Yeah.
And so we designed a sweatshirt, and so there were 7 people out of all my people that signed up, and on the sleeve it said 100 miles. So that was really cool. And then we took Facebook pictures and put that out there, and they're getting ready to run it again for the next round, and they're going to have little incentive gifts all the way up through for each achievement that you make. But they're continuing with that, which is really cool. I haven't been able to bring it in here yet. I know they've done something like that in the past, but we've got other things on our list that we kind of are trying to get in order first.
Right. Others?
We did several years of what's called a Wave Seeker challenge. So Wave Seeker was sort of the branding of the challenge, and we'd pick different adventures. So we would pick like we did the road to LA when the Olympics were in LA from Eugene, Oregon, and we kind of just calculated the miles and kind of made it fun how you grouped it into actual swimming miles. We did all the lighthouses up the coast of Oregon, so they swam from one to the other. We did the Lewis and Clark Trail, and kind of just tried to also, it was kind of a, what would you call it, educational type thing too, because they got to learn about those things as they went up, like going up through the different lighthouses, that kind of thing. And then at the end, we had a party, and we had t-shirts for everybody. And again, that's walking billboards for you for your program. People see that and go, what's that? And then they start looking forward to the next Wave Seeker. But that was a lot of fun. And we did have to include not just swimmers, but figure out a way for people that were exercising vertically, X amount of time to kind of match what a swimmer was doing mileage wise.
We just said that somebody who did an hour of water aerobics, it counted as 1 mile.
Nice. I was going to say, I think I like the idea of incorporating the time-based aspect too, because that does build more inclusion, and you can figure out ways to. I'm not a big fan of the, the idea of the participation trophy type of mindset, but at the same time, like let's get people active and let's make it to where people can do it too. So I like to have the aspects where you can have the really serious competitive, but then still everybody does get recognition and get benefits for what they're doing.
And the 9 people that signed up for ours, I think we averaged about 40 people each time. But I think we maybe invested $500 tops every 8 months, and our pools were just busier because of it, which was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a simple, quick, easy way that we saw growth in the pools in Ardmore, where people were more invested about coming in and making sure they were hitting their times. And then now we have a donor that is so invested in that he wants to see that keep growing. And then now that program has also folded into that they're doing master swim, like they're just getting that
Right.
started there. So that's really cool too. So it's not a big investment. It's some little things at first, but it can grow into more and more, which is a really cool thing about it.
Well, and you can equate it, okay? Because if you look at what it costs you to advertise, let's just say your local paper. Generally, a quarter page ad is going to be a minimum of $300 to $500
Mm-hmm.
for a 1 day hit, and this is something that gets people excited and starts bringing them together, and they get to talk to each other about it. And some will be competitive and some won't, but I think that it builds a community. It builds a community of people striving for the same goals, and when you do that, then you have a great opportunity for conversations with your patrons. And the bottom line is the value down the road is, if you're going for a tax base or whatever, having that kind of support from those adult exercisers, be they lap swimmers or water exercisers, really is important.
Absolutely.
One of the coolest things for me that came out of that was I ended up with a 67-year-old lifeguard, because he was competing essentially with our swim coach. And it was, they were trying to both hit that 50. And he came in one day and he knocked out 6.5 miles because that's all he had left to finish. And then he said to me within a few weeks after, he's like, "So do you think I could be a lifeguard? I was a lifeguard in the 70s. I'm like, "Paul, absolutely. No problem. Let's get you certified." So, and he's still there. He's still running things. It's good. So yeah, I mean, it'll get some of your older patrons who might not necessarily think they could do that. Did anybody see the post on Gray Watch? That was really cool. There was an article on that recently that somebody posted. I can't remember who's the YMCA group. I'll find it and I'll post it to this group for sure. But it was about older folks deciding that they wanted to be lifeguards and they were older. And it's nice to be able to pull from that community, even if they're only pulling 5 to 10 hours a week. They're helping out with that stuff. And so it shows them that they can do that if they're probably swimming more than the lifeguards are half the time when they're participating in these challenges.
If somebody can guard 5 to 10 hours a week, we'll put them on a stand. I don't care.
Especially since they usually love early mornings too.
Right. Anyone else?
I mean, Masters has a program that you can log your laps and stuff like this, and then they do recognition at 50, 100, 200 miles or whatever. And then what we do is at our local Y, we have it up on the board every month, who swim, the chart and everything like this. So we already do that. But they also have postal meets.
Mm-hmm.
You swim 2,000 yards or whatever, like 5K, 3K, something like that. But we kind of like I kind of like the idea of say like what she said before about like swimming the Oregon Trail or something like that. We could do it from like High Point to Cape May. Swim the Jersey Shore, and you only have like 30 days to do it.
Right.
I also saw where someone was swimming out to an island just off the coast of California where they were located. It's swimming, they were marking their miles for it. But you mentioned something that can track your miles and stuff. Swim.com has a great app that it Bluetooths to your Apple. It's not going to show it. Bluetooths to your Apple Watch and everything. But it's from swimoutlet.com, and it's a completely free app, and it'll tell you can tell it to tell your watch what kind of workout you want to do. And so it's another way to market that. And then you can have a club in there, and you're all showing how much you're doing and logging each day. It'll tell you, okay, hey, you need to do this workout now. You're done with 100. Okay, you got a 5-second rest, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, now you're on a 50 freestyle or whatever. It can tell you what to do for your workout. And then when you're done with it, you can log it And within your club, you can see where everybody's at, and it'll say, oh, you're on the leaderboard. Oh, you're the highest one here. And I love too that it will break down your 100 meters, 100 yards, and tell you how fast you're doing on that. So it'll keep, it's so cool. So cool. But that's
so
another one that
cool.
you could use to track stuff. And I love that it's completely free.
So what you're saying is we should start a challenge in a group within this aquatics directors group, because we all should probably be swimming more if we're still involved in this industry.
I know, I'm sitting here going, I haven't really been in the water.
Thanks.
I need to be.
I
Telling
dare ask this
everybody else
question.
to swim.
Yeah, I dare ask this question, Chelsea. You have swam in the new pool you're working at, correct?
I have, yes. Actually, I was in there on Tuesday working with our little kids on the swim team, dialing them in more. I've been in both pools. I have.
Yeah, good.
Just not steady.
Right. All right, I got a question for everyone here. I know everybody can chime in on this one. The question was, Alex was asking about shoe recommendations for staff that are working around the pool decks and walking a lot of miles at work around the pools. What's working for you? I see Chelsea's got an example there. Go ahead.
Gotta unblur it. These are Chacos, and these are specifically the Chacos that don't have a back strap. So I can very quickly pop them off. And I have a high arch, and these do have a higher arch. I can't be on deck without these. They will support my feet 100% of the time because it's concrete out there or it's tile.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I will. That's what I wear all the time. I swear by them. I had them when I was a whitewater guide. I had them through the camp industry and everything. Everybody swears by Chacos for the most part. And they are, you can retread them, you can restrap them. They last you a very, very long time.
My staff here are big fans of Crocs. And Crocs, when starting, I actually found a pair of freeze. But the gibbets, I bought a whole bag of gibbets now that I give out to my staff, which they love. They get to choose what they want. I use it for rewards. I have a couple of gibbets now on my Crocs, and yeah, the kids love them. So that's what we let them use.
Christine, do you have thoughts?
Well, I believe in having shoes on deck. Because I suffer because I didn't for so many years. Mm-hmm. And it's just not, it is cement, and it isn't where you should be barefoot for hours and hours and hours. And that they can, like what you guys have both shown are great options. There are water sneakers that are made for water fitness for people, but I found those got really hot if you were wearing them on deck. And I think that most of our young people are not going to drown with shoes on if they've got their tube on. You know what I mean? But you can kick them off. But I think that to protect them, it's just like voice amplification systems for water fitness instructors. Ultimately, the damage that can happen is huge if you don't protect them. And so whatever you can find that they can get off easily and keep, and that's really great. Chelsea has those ones you can retread and everything, because God knows us.
Yeah. I've gone to training and in servicing in tennis shoes and doing rescues and making sure we can still hit those benchmarks wherever we can. They're allowed to wear it, but they got to train in it. And if it's the sandals that they're kicking off quickly, great. I did an in-service in my boots the other day. That was a little bit slower than I would have liked, but I'm also not primarily active in rotation. When I go into rotation, I have my second step down of like whatever brand New Balance Nike tennis shoes that I've been using that are designed like clean, obviously, and they're not going in the water all the time, but that I can, respond in our rescue appropriately.
And I wear Rexies all the time anyway as a quick slip on. So if I'm out on deck, not actually like lifeguarding, I can usually quickly throw those on. But you got to kind of think about that and then have the staff do the quick. So even at summer camp, we had staff like training with whatever they wanted to wear, because you're swimming, you have to jump in and swim with it. A lot of them at the summer camp really liked bedrocks. If you're familiar with those, they're usually like a little bit more minimalist. So they're a lighter weight shoe. Chacos can get kind of heavy in the water. So that's why I wear the ones without a back strap, so I can kick them off. But the bedrocks were really nice. They were lighter weight and they're almost like a flip flop, but they are completely ratcheted to your foot. So they're not coming off at all. So it's just another option.
Great. Anyone else want to chime in on this one? All right. With that, next question. This is something that actually our organization's discussing also. Shannon asked about paying instructors or new hires a training rate until they're ready to teach on their own. Casey in the chat also said Birkenstocks are a classic for this footwear. Wanted to make sure I added that in. But yeah, so we're looking at a train to hire program where we, municipal agency in the past, we haven't done this. So this question is something that I've also been tasked to do some research into. We're bumping up our lifeguard pay rates. So we're actually kicking them up significantly higher finally. But then the question is, while we're paying them to take lifeguard training classes and whatnot, do they want to pay them a lower rate? And does anybody have experience with that or not?
We pay, so yeah, when we have new kids that want to be instructors, they come in, they shadow. Some kids will do it for volunteer hours because they need volunteer hours to graduate from school. So, but those that want to continue on, we pay them the basic lifeguard rate, which is our starting rate, because our swim instructors, they get $1 more an hour when they teach, $2 more if they're WSI. So yeah, we will start them pay them at the guard rate, the basic first level guard rate if they're shadowing and learning how to teach. And once they start teaching on their own, then we bump them up to the instructor rate.
Great. Others?
It would just seem from, it seems like a good incentive, that you're going to do this at a training rate. When you've accomplished this, then it's going to go up. And I think just the mental reward of that is really good. You just kind of have to look at the balance and the bookkeeping of it. If depending on how long your training program is, if it's like a 2-week thing or something like that, then that's a lot of changes in HR for payroll. Potentially, just saying. That's yep. You kind of just have to weigh it out, which way it works.
Yeah, that was a question that we had. The HR's like, you're gonna have to turn in like personnel action forms, like in like 3 weeks after hiring them, and we're like, that's okay. If we're gonna pay them to do the training, we will fill out the paperwork. Like, we want that, especially if we can incentivize them to get paid more once they're picking up shifts. Like, definitely. Any other thoughts on that one? All right. Next question coming in from Ben asked in the Facebook group about how you store your pool toys, like the stuff that's there for open recreation or lap swim or whatever. He showed a picture of a large, like a paddock storage bin, but had concerns about kids falling into them. And then he also shared he used like the fin baskets that are on wheels, but afraid about if a kid gets on top of that, if they're going to roll away. So anybody have thoughts on that stuff?
I meant to take a picture of the one that we just purchased for outside of here. But it's still the lift up lid. but has front open doors as well. So what he was concerned about kids falling in, this one, you can open it up and it's got 2 shelves in it. And that's where we're storing everything. And we actually don't really use the lift up lid. We have like plants on top of it. And then as far as like toys that are available for the kids, we have those wire racks with some buckets that have like, is Casey going to show you?
He's going to do it.
He's going to show you.
We're going to go live. We're going to go live to Casey in the field here.
We are making it happen.
Reporter on the street. Reporter on the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that. So yeah, that's our new, we got all those baskets. I went to Goodwill and Habitat and found baskets. So that was awesome.
Nice.
And that technically,
and then it lifts up on the top.
Yeah, it was like I think like $180 on Amazon, but it was perfect. And now the stuff that's for swim lesson instructors, that's out of sight, out of mind. And then the wire rack out front has like the other things that the kids can't access. And that's just like a couple of little buckets of toys and the noodles. So,
and with the noodles too, because we had quite a few of them, you can get one of those big plastic garbage cans, drill some holes in the bottom of it so it drains out, and they can just stand in that, and so when they bring them back in, then they're easy to store that way.
We've got some big metal racks that we've used that were built by a welder that they have swing open doors on them. The other thing I've used is, what else have we used? We've used the garbage cans. We've used the fin baskets, but I'm not a huge fan of the fin baskets because oftentimes the lids will come down on people if you're not careful. We've used plastic shelving from, pick your local regional retail store. And then I've also built PVC racks that we've set up where we roll stuff in and out as we need to keep it safe, and just 1.5 PVC, and we make it custom to fit. So.
And if you're looking at storing water fitness equipment, Hydrofit makes storage racks, and then they also have things that hook to the rack that can hold noodles. There's like a, what do you call that? A sling that goes underneath on the bottom, and you can throw things in that, and it's easy for kids to access or whatever. It's just depending on, trying to keep that separate from the kids during play swim, whatever. But those are already made. I mean, they just fit together really fast too. If you're not creative like Joe, and be able to build your own.
There's lots of options out there. So, all right. We've got 3 more questions. So if you guys have stuff you want to talk about, throw it into the chat. I'm kind of watching it, but these ones, knowing how we go, sometimes it can take 10 minutes on a question. Sometimes it'll take 2 minutes on a question. So next question, Sydney asked about wait lists for swimming lessons and just said it's a hassle contacting people to get them into a class, and interested in how different facilities have handled wait lists.
I don't know if there's a way around that.
Yeah, we use wait lists. We have the system we use will order them, like who joined the wait list first, and we just have to go down the list and contact them. When somebody drops out of a class, though, it will send a notice to the next person on the wait list. But I don't know how often they actually check that email, so we do follow up with a phone call. But I don't know that there's another way around it either.
The front desk in Ardmore just kept a paper list, and we wrote down, because swim lessons weren't available year round or different things. And so it was like, well, if you want to know when they're available, we can call you and tell you, hey, those are available now. And then that was just part of the front desk responsibilities on quieter days to, hey, we're getting ready to open swim lessons in so many weeks. Why don't you start calling people and letting them know? And they just check marked, I talked to them or I left a message. We had that system set up. I love the idea, Stephanie, of the thing that automatically sends the stuff to them, because that takes all of the extra work out of it. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, I think that's just a matter of training the people that get on the wait list. Hey, keep an eye on your emails, because if the spot opens up, you will get an email.
That kind of gives you a nice paper record that you did notify them too. You know, when they get upset, so I never saw it. You know, it's like, well, okay.
Yeah, and that's one that we've had at our facility. We do, again, it's not my program area, but basically what we do is we have the registrations through ActiveNet, and then it has a wait list capacity. And then what we do is when we have spots open up, we have the lesson program, the staff will go through and basically create a paper list of those spots that are able to be open and have our cashiers call them. And they have we hold their spot for, I think it's 3 days, and they have to pay. So we'll call them. If they don't get back to us and don't pay for the spot, then we'll go down to the next person on the wait list. So it seems to work pretty well. It's a little time intensive, but it keeps classes full and gets as many people through as we can. We do struggle with people saying, well, I'm on the wait list. I should get in right away, right? Or I'm on a wait list for this class. Can I get in with this other class now? It's like, no, because there's other people on that wait list for that time spot. So it's a little bit of a struggle to figure it all out. But, you know, it's part of what we do, why we do. If it was easy, everybody could do it. Other thoughts on wait lists? All right. Next to last question. Emily asked about what kind of paint people use on spray grounds and feature pools. They've got a mushroom feature, mushroom fountain at one of their pools, and another feature at another that they have to refurbish. And what is the group's thoughts on that?
We redid our mushroom, but I don't remember what the paint was. Sorry.
Yeah, we repainted, but we went with, I believe the manufacturer of whoever made the play structure gave us, you follow in there and they give you manufacturer recommendations on what paint to use. That would be my recommendation, reaching out to the manufacturer.
We had some luck with, I've powder coated them. I've taken the metal ones out, and we've taken them to a powder coating shop that's down the road, and they'll sandblast it and powder coat it. The other ones for fiberglass toys, fiberglass repair, and get them re-gel coated. You can bandage things along with, getting a good, enamel paint and trying to make it work. But really the best way to do it is to get it pulled out. If it's metal objects, take them out, let them completely sandblast them, and then powder coat them and use a UV protectant coating on it that'll help it last longer. And the other options are, again, powder coating and then paint. Again, once you start painting something that's not like has a clear coat or a surface on it, you're going to continue to paint it for time and time again, because it's just we're hard on things in aquatics. Others? All right, trying to kind of go all over the place with some programming, some staffing and leadership, some facility stuff. This week there was a few more facility maintenance questions than often. But the next question that comes up is Kelly asks about people that have had rock walls, like climbing walls at their pools. Especially, she said she was kind of interesting because she said more than a year. And what are your opinions of them? I know Kyle, who's regular on the call, has had them, but anybody else on this panel had the rock climbing walls? Seeing lots of no's. I've had them on my facilities. I've had them at 2 different facilities, and I would say they're good. I don't absolutely love them. They definitely create a lot of buzz when you first open them up and start at your facility, but then you start running into issues. They do require maintenance during swim meets and competitions. Oftentimes you have to pull them out, which is a kind of a multi-person effort. Then you have to figure out where you're going to store them because they are big things that take up space. Mine I haven't put back in since COVID, and we're trying to we need to kind of do some refinishing work before we get them in. We're hoping to get them in before this summer, but our staffing situation, because we use them in our indoor pools, and then we have an outdoor kind of mini water park facility outside that is really the priority to open up during the summertime. So this year, if we can get the staffing, we'll open it up and get them installed. They're okay.
So I have a question because I've never experienced them. So when people are using these, are the kids get out of the pool and they're wet and they climb up, or is it something they drop into the water from? I mean, I'm just trying to picture. I mean, we had a rock wall at our community center. It was very popular, but just trying to figure out how that works in an aquatic setting, and like how many people can use it at a time. How much space do you have to clear for anybody coming into the water? Just kind of interested, since you've experienced those.
Yeah. So the ones I've had, so they overhang off the water edge. So as you climb up, you climb further away from the edge of the pool. You typically queue up the kids like on the walls next to them, and it's one swimmer at a time to climb up, fall down, and then they can get back in line or swim away. You can usually run similar kinds of crowds like you would for a diving board. The edge of the board, the walls, and the ones that I've used are in the water 18 to 36 inches, depending on which manufacturer it is. And they kind of climb up from in the water and then back and out. They're one of the things we've seen is, depending on how you configure the rocks, it does take a lot of upper body strength. So real little ones oftentimes have a hard time with it, but it's really popular towards the upper elementary school and junior high age groups. And then oftentimes you can get some groups of older and then adults trying to go for it and get real competitive.
So you have that over your deep water.
Yeah, they need, depending on the manufacturer, they require anywhere from 8 to 10 feet. So it's a nice addition for like those those rectangular pools that have a deep end, your traditional community pool that you're trying to spice up a little bit. But they work okay. They're an investment. I think I know the Melissa, who's on the panel a lot. I was up at her facility this weekend, and she has the inflatables. And I'm a little more bullish on the inflatables right now than the fixed rock walls. Just make sure you do the size measurements and make sure you have room for all the ones you buy. But they're pretty neat. And I would actually kind of encourage people to go that direction first, even though they have wear and tear and all the things that go along with that.
You mean inflatables?
Definitely need extra guards. Yeah, for inflatables, you definitely need extra guards. And you're risking, the thing with that is you can see all the way around them, and you got to be able to see who's going under them, because that's blocking the view, and that's where the issues come from. And so we had them at the waterfront at the lake. I think I've said that before. But we made sure that the kids were wearing life jackets with them. So and then there was always a counselor on the inflatable monitoring, saying, I've got 1, 2, 3, like however many kids they had on it, and we only had so many on at a time. So that you have to really, really structure it. But they're a blast. They're absolutely a blast. And they're honestly, they're designed to hold up long term to a decent amount of, wear and tear. So
one of the camp facilities that I assist with every year, they have several inflatables, and they have pretty good luck with them and pretty good durability for their summer seasons. And they don't pull them in during the summer. They're out all summer in the sun, and they've held up pretty well. So, all right. Well, everybody, it's about the top of the hour, just a smidge past it. I really appreciate everybody jumping in and helping out and contributing. And with that,